Stamp duty land tax. Navigating the UK property tax landscape right. Stamp duty land tax, or SDLT, if you're trying to sound like you know your stuff, or just trying to save time texting a client. Love it or loathe it, it's one of those unavoidable parts of buying property in England and Northern Ireland. And trust me, after 20+ years in this game, I've seen more confusion, last-minute panics, and slightly sweaty phone calls about SDLT than I care to admit. So let's unpack this, casually and with a coffee in hand. Because honestly, if you're in the property business or just trying to buy your first flat, you need to know how it works. What is stamp duty land tax anyway? Think of SDLT as the government's little thank you fee. Generous, right? You pay it when you purchase residential property over a certain price. But here's the kicker. The thresholds, rates, and rules are constantly changing. Not wildly, but enough to keep everyone on their toes. Quick heads up on current 2025 thresholds. Nothing to pay up to £250,000. Unless you're a first-time buyer, then it's $425,000. Thank you, Jeremy Hunt, for the mini-budget hangover adjustments. Above that, you're paying a sliding scale that starts at 5% and jumps depending on the price. Second home or buy-to-let, you're slapped with an additional 3% on top. Yes, even on the first $250K. Here's where it gets messy. I had a client, let's call her Lisa, buying a 2-bed in Hackney for £620,000. First-time buyer, excited, champagne on standby. She thought she was covered under the relief. And guess what? She was, but only up to £425,000. After that, the normal SDLT kicked in. She ended up paying around £9,750 in stamp duty. That's after the relief. Her reaction? Wait, I thought I didn't have to pay anything. Nope, that's the trap. Relief doesn't mean free ride. It means partial discount. Keep that in mind. Now, let's talk current trends, because this is where it gets real. Since interest rates went a bit haywire and buyers became more cautious, we've seen more people trying to game the SDLT system. Not illegally, but creatively. You get couples splitting purchases, parents buying with kids. Some folks even ask if it's worth breaking up a sale into separate transactions. Spoiler alert, it usually isn't and can raise a big red flag at HMRC. Oh, and if you're buying mixed use or commercial property, completely different SDLT bans, potentially lower. I once advised a client buying a shop with a flat above in Lewisham. Because it was technically mixed use, he saved over £8,000 in stamp duty, compared to a purely residential deal of the same value. Cha-ching! Don't forget about the 2% overseas buyer surcharge. Not UK-based, expect to cough up an extra 2%. That came in a couple years back to cool off foreign investment in hotspots like London and Manchester. Does it work? Debatable. But if your client has a Dubai postcode and a British buy-to-let dream, they're paying it. Weird but true scenarios I've seen. A buyer who almost paid an extra £15,000 because his solicitor didn't know he qualified for multiple dwellings relief. Another who split their house purchase because they were buying the garage separately. HMRC wasn't impressed. And yes, someone trying to argue their bungalow was a holiday lodge to get a tax break. Nice try. Final word and mini rant. The biggest issue? People leave SDLT as an afterthought. Huge mistake. It should be one of the first things you budget for. Honestly, I've had clients pull out an exchange stage because of unexpected stamp duty bills. That's not just embarrassing. It's expensive and emotionally draining for everyone involved. If you're an agent, talk about SDLT early. If you're a buyer, demand clarity. And if you're confused, ask someone who knows. It's literally my job. And hey, don't let stamp duty ruin your vibe. Property's still one of the best long-term investments out there. Just make sure you go in with your eyes open and your calculator ready. You've got this. Let's keep navigating the madness together.